So depending on how you look at it, depending on where you're from in the world, if you're from the United States or like me from Europe, this is a $200,000 Honda. But if you're from the United States, it's an Acura, because Acura is fancier and it's easier to market a supercar as an Acura versus a Honda, even though both are kind of like not synonymous with a supercar at all. Now we can stand here and debate and go back and forth all day about, you know, what is a supercar? What constitutes a supercar? What makes it a supercar? There's a lot of different factors. Now, while this might not have a supercar brand tied to it, it definitely has supercar performance, which we will demonstrate here shortly. So what do you get for a $200,000 Honda, Acura? Do you get a V8 or a V10 or one of these exotic engine alternatives? Nope. You get a V6. However, it does have 2 turbos, and not only does it have 2 turbos, it has 3 hybrid batteries to help out with the power. Now, in true supercar fashion, the NSX is mid-engine. And for most supercars who are mid-engine, I would say pretty much all of them, they have what's called a frunk, meaning you have the engine in the rear, so your trunk needs to be up front. But since the NSX has 3 batteries to help out with traction and obviously more power, there's 2 up front and 1 in the rear. The frunk basically contains 2 batteries and you can't really open it. So you have an actual trunk behind the engine. Now, it's not very deep. You can't fit much in here, and that's usually the norm when it comes to cars of this size and magnitude. But it is pretty deep on each side here, though. Now, as you can see right here, there's a little bump right here. So the trunk sits right above the exhaust system. So just picking up my tripod here, this thing is extremely hot. So if you ever have anything back here that needs to be chilled, like popsicles or ice cream or ice itself, keep it in the passenger seat and not here, because it will melt. So even though it's just a 6-cylinder, this car produces 573 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. During the later years of the NSX production models, the NSX Type S came out, and that had 602 horsepower. This thing does 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. That's almost Bugatti Chiron territory. Now, beauty is obviously in the eye of the beholder, but in my opinion, the NSX is extremely good looking, especially from the front. It's got very sleek lines. It looks mean. It's got that typical supercar look. It's very low and just looks fast. So there's a lot of air intakes everywhere. The NSX actually has 10 radiators, 3 just for the V6 engine, and then 7 more for all the batteries and rest of the drivetrain and so on. You can see the same here on the hood, even though there's no engine underneath there, just batteries. Now, I'm 6'2", and headroom in the NSX is phenomenal. Now, I do have the seat all the way back, and if I were to drive a longer distance in this car, I think, yeah, it wouldn't be good for someone my height, because you can't really stretch your legs. Now, when it comes to cars of this size, whether it's an actual supercar or an exotic from an Italian brand, you're used to not having cup holders. The car might be available with cup holders, but that's always an optional feature. This is a Acura, and it doesn't have cup holders. You have a little cubby space here, which I guess could somewhat be used as a cup holder, possibly, but it wouldn't really be steady. And then you have this little, it almost looks like some slot for an old cassette or something, but this is apparently to be able to put a cup holder on the side there. It is kind of weird. A car that is an Acura, they could incorporate cup holders without actually having to check an extra box when you're ordering one. So the best part about the NSX is obviously the way that it drives. Before we take it out on the road, we'll take a look at the interior here quickly, because for a car that costs $200,000 new, the interior really feels like an Acura, Honda. Just watch for yourself. So door panel, it's pretty nice. We got some Alcantara right here. Buttons look like the same in an Acura or maybe a Honda. Now the seats are very comfortable for performance style seats that are kind of bolstered. They're very nice. Then back here we got one little USB port and like some kind of cubby storage space there. And then this is actually a pretty nice spot for your phone. And this is what's supposed to be some kind of cup holder, but you guys can tell, the thing would just go flying. Just not good. And then we have leather here on the side. We got Some more Alcantara. We got Alcantara here by the glove box. Leather up top here. Alcantara right there. I'm sure carbon fiber trim around the steering wheel is an option, but this just looks kind of cheap. So does this. And as we start it up, the infotainment system has to be the same as in a Honda Accord. And I mean, look at this backup camera. This NSX is a 2019 model. This backup camera looks like something from 2012. It is awful resolution. These buttons feel kind of plasticky and so on. So it is, the interior is a little subpar, but it gets a lot better once you drive it. So I think it's best we started off here with a POV format. So since it has 3 electric engines, you can basically drive the NSX in EV mode. So we have a dynamic mode select shifter here. So we currently have it in quiet. Click one time, it goes into sport. And then Sport Plus, it really kick-starts the engine. You can hear more of the exhaust note. And then to put it in reverse, you would go like this, and then drive like that. Now, transmission is phenomenal. It's a 9-speed dual clutch transmission that shifts lightning quick, as it should be with a dual clutch. So let's see what it's like to drive. And it doesn't sound half bad in here when you have it in Sport Plus, and the actual V6 is making some noise. Hopefully that's picked up by the GoPro here, but there's a little blow off valve sound and everything when you kind of let off the gas. Now, with the car having 3 hybrid batteries, obviously it'll weigh it down a little bit. It is a tiny car. Curb weight is supposed to be around 3,800 pounds. It doesn't feel very heavy at all. It feels pretty nimble on these back roads. It sits good on the road. It's a fun car to drive. You definitely won't find another Acura that drives like this. This thing, it handles well. But the mode that I really want to try out is you go all the way to the right. We're in Sport Plus, and then you hold it like this, and it goes into track. And this is how you do launch control. You just put your foot on the brake. Launch ready. I mean, that's insane. That's insanely fast. And this is a freaking Acura NSX. Official numbers from Acura says 2.7. I've heard that it can get down to 2.5 seconds. I mean, we're talking Bugatti Chiron fast. I mean, it's stupid quick. So, I mean, yeah, you can complain about, you know, it having supercar pricing of like $200,000 brand new and not having an exotic power plant that has a V6, twin turbo, blah, blah, blah. But it definitely has the performance. I mean, this is impressive. Now, this car, as most of my reviews nowadays, has been provided by LW Automotive. This is a used model. It's 2019, one owner car, 10,000 miles. And obviously it doesn't cost anywhere near $200,000. So used car pricing for the NSX and the performance that you get and the looks that you get, because this is a head turner, because people don't really understand what type of car this is. I mean, it's amazing. So big thanks to LW Automotive. If you live in the area or anywhere in the country, really, because they ship cars all over the place, check them out. I'll link them in the description if you're interested in this car or anything else they have to offer. But yeah, we got to try that again, and you guys got to see it here from a POV standpoint. So foot on the brake, pedal to the metal. 60. It's crazy. Wow. I'm really impressed by the performance. It's got to be like one of the quickest cars I've driven. I think so. 0 to 60, I would have to say. I mean, I've been in some super modified cars that are just fast from a roll race, but from a standstill, and the launch control is just so good in this car. It just grips and rips. It's so simple. I mean, I'm impressed. So the original Honda NSX was made from 1990 to 2005, and it just became an absolute icon in sports car world. Then they had a little lapse from 2005 till 2016 when this last generation Honda / Acura NSX came out. There was a lot of anticipation about what it was going to look like and what kind of power plant it was going to have, and to be honest, most auto and car enthusiasts were kind of bummed out when they found out about the V6 and so on, and also the pricing. As we mentioned a few times in the video already, new car pricing for a properly equipped Acura NSX is over $200,000, and you know, you can buy Lamborghinis, used ones, and you can buy McLarens, used ones, and other sports car brands like Ferrari, used ones, for that price. But now on the used car market, depending on the year and the mileage and so on, you can find one of these for around 140 grand. And again, the performance you get for 140 grand, you won't find in any other exotic car brand or supercar / sports car. This thing is just insanely fast, and that is definitely its main attribute. While the interior can be a little underwhelming, again, for the price and the performance that you get, I would have to say that it's worth the money. It's also, again, a Honda, so you do have some, you know, reliability that you can lean back on. It feels safe to drive a car like this, and if something happens, you know, you have a Honda / Acura dealership nearby. Oh my God, what? This thing is just stupid. It's so quick. I love it. But in the supercar / sports car world, it's not many cars that can match this Acura NSX, specifically when it comes to performance and for the money. So if you're in the market, you've been trying to figure out which car to buy, and this is sort of your budget, maybe you should go and test drive an Acura NSX. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I think that's going to end today's video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you an Acura NSX owner yourself? Leave your little mini review in the comments. And thanks again to LW Automotive for providing the car in today's review. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.